Hey everybody, Tony D with another hot take, and I got to talk about the couple in St. Louis who busted out their guns and fended off the Antifa BLM hordes who arrived at their mansion. So for those of you who don't know, in St. Louis, there is a gated community called, I think it's called Portland Place. So a bunch of BLM Antifa rioters were running amok, and they went into the gated community, knocked down the gate, busted in, and it was a private street, and they were making a lot of noise. They attracted the attention of the couple in the first mansion they passed, and they came out and they said, "Hey, this is private property." They got screamed at, all kinds of threats. They went in, came back out. The husband had looked like an AR-15, and the wife had a pistol. And they were yelling back and forth with the protesters. They aimed their guns. That, of course, wasn't the way it was reported. The way it was reported on the mainstream news sites was they didn't play the audio of the protesters screaming at the couple and screaming threats to burn down the mansion, to kill their dog, to kill them. They instead didn't play the audio and then said that the couple came out of their house with guns and aimed them at peaceful protesters. Well, they weren't peaceful. They were aggressive. They did damage to the property, and they were trespassing on private property. It's a gated community. The streets are private too. You can't come in there and protest. And what the hell were you protesting against anyway? What do these randos who have guns have to do with George Floyd or police brutality? Nothing. The deal was that they were trying to get to the mayor's house to demand her resignation because she had doxed some of the protesters. Well, they turned around and doxed this couple who confronted them. Now, should they be able to go and protest at the mayor? Yeah, sure. She's a public official. These people weren't. And these people lived near that gate that you tore down. If BLM Antifa rioters had any honor, they would pay for that gate and apologize and say, yeah, you weren't the target of our ire. But the target of their ire is everyone. Everyone who isn't them. There was another riot on, I saw this on Twitter. I believe it was in San Jose. Group of rioters went out on the highway, stopped traffic. They attacked cars. They screamed at people. There was one guy who got out of his car a few lengths back, walked up to where, the traffic stop was, and he looked like he was going to be confrontational. But the moment he saw all the Antifa BLM rioters, well, he decided that's too many people. He turned around and started walking back. Almost immediately, the rioters charged at him, got up to him, and started screaming at him. He turned around, and then the guy was just screaming, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, over and over again in his face. You're not going to win anybody over by this behavior, obviously. And in fact, if that guy wasn't a Trump supporter, he certainly is now. He's certainly going to think twice before voting for a guy like Joe Biden, who apparently condones this kind of behavior. What should have happened is, when you block a highway, the cops should show up and arrest you. And they should take you to jail, and you get some sort of misdemeanor, and you're probably let out in 10 minutes, and then you go your merry way. It's stupid to protest on a highway. It would be different if George Floyd was killed there, or, it had some significance to the actual protest, but it doesn't. It's just a highway where people are trying to go about their business, and certainly you attacking cars with a baton, as one of the protesters did, doesn't do anything to put the movement forward. The Antifa idiots who have hijacked the BLM movement need to be purged from it, and I think it's probably far too gone to do that. A new statistic came out like a couple of days ago. 46% of the protesters are white, 22% of them are Hispanic, and only 17 of them are black. So you would think with Black Lives Matter, when it was in Ferguson, I believe the numbers were much higher in terms of how many black people were in the BLM movement. And you would think, yeah, it's Black Lives Matter. It would be a lot of black people. But these 46%, well, these Antifa guys are mostly white. They're mostly white entitled college kids who don't know what they're doing. Well, sort of. They've got tactics down, and they're using the rules for radicals to cause all sorts of damage and mayhem. But that's coming to an end because the task force is on you, and I'm telling you, the FBI is going to lower the hammer on all you idiots because that's what they do. And if you think, well, I haven't really done anything, that doesn't matter. They'll get you on conspiracy. So if one of your little terrorist cell, LARPing terrorist cell, has done something semi-serious, they're going to rope you into it, even if it has nothing to do with the protest. If one of you idiots were, I don't know, selling drugs on the side, let's say. Let's say one of the guys in your Antifa cell was dealing a little coke, and you didn't even know about it, right? Oh, but see, you're in his cell, and then the FBI is going to connect that somehow to Antifa because selling drugs and then using that drug money in order to facilitate the vandalism and whatnot. And you didn't know it at the time, but he gave you the crowbar that helped you tear down that statue, and you're in a lot of trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. And, again, it's kind of a weak link, you might say, but it's going to be enough to put you in a big hassle. And eventually, they're just going to wear you down and wear your family down until they get a confession out of you, until you plead to something, because the FBI needs metaphorical heads. And they want to trot you out. They want to call you a terrorist. Remember how you doxed these people, these right-wing guys, and then you called their jobs, and you doxed them on social media, and you said, hey, look at this guy, he's a Nazi or whatever. This is what's going to happen to you. You are going to be trotted out. Here's a kid, he's a Marxist, he helped tear down this statue, he was in an Antifa cell that dealt drugs. I mean, it's just going to sound super bad. Super bad. When the tables turn, that's what's going to happen. And you're going to suffer because of it. Unless you get out now. Or unless you, when you get squeezed, you tell the FBI, I'll tell you anything you want, man. I'll help you. I'll testify against my other Antifa members. And you will. And they'll hate you for the rest of your life. Because you're going to put them in prison. Then you got to worry about them getting out of prison, and they won't be the same when they get out. So trust me when I say, if you think the Antifa guys are vicious against people who they think are Nazis, wait till they turn against their own people for snitching on them. And they will, because 10 years is a long time. And there are plenty of Antifa guys that'll throw you under the bus. Remember that long vetting process to get into Antifa? Oh, right. There really isn't one. It's a bunch of idiots running around in the protests. A bunch of dumbasses who don't know what they're doing or how much time you could get for some of the activities you're engaging in. Well, you're going to learn. You're going to learn the hard way. The guys who are hiding behind the scenes directing all this, they'll get caught eventually, but that's down the road. You're the one who turned down the statue. You're the one that hung out with the drug dealer. You. That's the way they're going to get you. One by one. The FBI is systematic. It'll take them a while, but they're going to get you. So now you have to get out. Now is the time to get out of Antifa. These people who went and busted in to a private area, not good. Not good. Now, the couple who had the gun, they eventually backed off. They kind of backed off and put out this statement saying that, well, we support peaceful protests, but obviously we don't support the people who busted in and run amok or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But the thing is, next time, you guys might not get so lucky because they have the castle doctrine in Missouri. And those people could have shot the protesters and they would have been within their rights, especially if any of the protesters had charged at them. Kablamo, they would have been done and they wouldn't have been charged, I don't think. Now, maybe you could argue that since the Atlanta cop got charged, anybody can be charged these days. Political pressure would be too much. But, you know, even if they got charged, those people have money. They have money to fight that for years. And a few years from now, I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of Antifa or BLM. That's just my feeling. My feeling is this all goes away after the election because Democrats, win or lose, are going to stop funding your sorry ass. They're going to stop pushing for it, and they're going to abandon you. And either way, the Antifa BLM guys are not going to vote for the Democrats. And so together, you've signed this weird suicide pact where you go downhill and out. And the people in Washington, they don't care. They're using you. They've always used you. If you want to really get back at them, stop. Stop what you're doing. Do things legally. If you want to get rid of a statue, petition your local government. You know, I'm seeing posts online, here's a picture of a protest from 1992 about Rodney King and how nothing has ever changed. Are you crazy? You know what the crime stats are if you rank them from 92 to 2020, discounting the recent riots? Violent crime is going down. Down. And part of that reason are cell phones, but part of that reason is different policing methods. Part of that reason is constant refinement of things and getting rid of those tough 3-strike laws that were screwing everything up, and that some of that anti-crime stuff that wasn't really very good. So, yes, things were improving. We're improving until these riots. So this idea that like in 1992, oh yeah, it was bad, and then here we are in 2020, things are exactly the same. You just don't know what the heck you're talking about. Look at the statistics. Look at what's happened. And then look at the statistics, after all these riots started. Well, they're pretty bad. Pretty bad. So anyhow, if you're a member of Antifa, think about seriously just getting out now, because things are going to get much, much worse in the not too distant future.